Amanda graduated in 2010, and Allie graduated last year in 2012. As a high school and college student, kind of your age and those who go into college, I like to be stared at. We all do. It makes us feel good about ourselves. It makes us feel, I don't know, maybe like we're more important, who knows. But one day I was in college and I had on my favorite pink sweater, and it was the color of the pink ballerinas. And I walked around campus and went into my classes and walked into my biology class where somebody I knew from high school, his name was Rob Laporte, now Facebook friends, but he said, "Oh my God, I knew it was you," and burst out laughing. And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Andrea, every guy on campus is talking about the girl in the pink sweater." So it was one of those things that made me feel good. Take it back to several months ago, and I would tell you a completely different story. I did not like being stared at. I don't know if you all know, but on April 19th, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma. It's a form of breast cancer. I had surgery on June 11th, and I ended up having to go through chemotherapy. And thankfully didn't have to do the radiation, but chemotherapy, it's not a fun thing. And the interesting thing about when you get cancer is when you have it initially and you have your first surgery, most people can't even tell. It's halfway through chemo, and even now, where if I wasn't wearing this wig, you would see like, what is wrong with her? So I would get stared at, and it wasn't a pleasant experience like when I was young. I was in a Target once with Allie over the summer while we were preparing to get all of the junk and stuff you need when you go away to college. And she said, "Oh, Mom, can you grab me bobby pins?" So I said, okay, and I walked into the aisle, and it's in Target where all the brushes and all the hair stuff is and the shampoos. And there were two younger girls standing there, and they burst out laughing and walked down the aisle. And I wasn't wearing a wig, I was wearing what they call a head cover, so you could tell that I did not have hair. And Allie came around the corner and said, "What's the matter with you?" And I said, "Nothing," and Allie knows very much when I lie. And I told her that I had just been laughed at. Well, she had seen the backs of the two kids that had walked past when they came around the aisle. And I went to say something to her again and realized she wasn't there, and I knew exactly what she did. She had gone through the middle of the store, scoped out the entire store to find these two girls, and stood there and absolutely berated them for having the audacity to laugh at her mother, who does not have hair. Don't have hair, and you know, even for you who doesn't have these issues, when you have a bad hair day, you know, you can feel it, and you don't feel as good about yourself. Hair means a lot to us as women, and maybe it shouldn't, but it does. But having the wig makes me feel not normal, but it makes me feel like I'm not being stared at as much. Sometimes if you don't know who I am, you might see me with long red hair. Because, heck, I've always wanted red hair, and I always wanted long hair, so I put the two together. And it does get to be a little bit of fun, but these things are hot, let me tell you. So if you see me in the halls without the wig, you'll know I'm having a very hot day. But I do just want to thank the girls and the women that are here to cut their hair. It makes people who don't have hair feel normal and feel like they can go out without being stared at and gawked at and looked at. And it just makes you feel a little bit more normal in a day where you really don't feel as if you are normal. You are different when you have cancer, and you're never going to be the same. I made a mistake actually in my oncology where I said something about, "Oh great, I'm cancer-free," and she said, "Oh no, no, no." And I love my oncologist, but she said, "You can never say that you're that way." So you always have it in the back of your head as a cancer patient that please God you don't let it happen again, but you never know because you can't say that. So to feel normal, we wear wigs. And for the women who donate their hair, and I'm sure there's probably some men who do too, but for the people who donate their hair, it's a huge shout out to them for what they're doing. I know here it's all fun and we're all laughing and it's having a great time, and that's wonderful. But it really is a truly meaningful thing to basically cut off part of who you are and be able to give it and to share it with other people. So I thank them, and those of you who are maybe growing your hair for next year or the year after that, I'm not sure how long you have to have it anymore, Thank you. I really appreciate it, and everybody who wears wigs does too. Is it all?